Hi and welcome to day 24 of Counting the Omer. Today, the love and the light of who you are pours down into your right hip, into the Netzach. So we are in the Tiferet of Tiferet within Netzach, which means that we are bringing our truth, our being, our light into action. But first, we need to know who we are. And that's an endless journey to move towards the truth of who we are. And our gifts and our mission can change with this discovery. The closer we get to the truth of who we are, the more clear the path will be. I'm dancing from the polarity to the polarity these days, and I've been very into making roadmaps, trying to understand when I'm in the feminine polarity and when I'm in the masculine polarity, and then move towards the center, the betweenness, out of the polarity and into oneness. So my mission and the truth, the I am presence, can become one. In that way, we are who we are. We express ourselves authentically. We rest into the knowing, the inner knowing, and we move when the time is right. There's not much struggle in that. It's more like leaning back, almost like laying down on the surfboard, waiting for the wave to come. And when it comes, you stand up and you try to balance the wave as good as possible. Trying to move the board in the right direction. The more sensitive we become, the easier it is to pick up that energy when it moves. And for me, this really changed with the phases of the moon. There are days where my body speaks to me and my emotion speaks to me. Now it's time to go into stillness, go into nature, go into contemplation. And then suddenly the energy shifts and I wake up in the morning and I have this urge to do some sun salutations, and I make my list, my to-do list. Today I want to do this and that, and now I remember I have all these things I need to do, that should be done, paying my bills and writing those emails that I have been waiting to write, all these kinds of things. I remember some years ago when I had these days where I was completely into the guidance of being still, and my body just told me to not move so much. There was such a resistance in me. And I felt guilty and bad when I had these days where the only thing I really wanted to do and which felt true for me was to be still. Go into very, very deep meditations and not connect with so many people. But I felt bad because I'm also trapped by this idea that we have to do all the time. But when we have released all the guilt and all these ideas that our worthiness is linked with what we do in life, when we have healed the polarities, we can live from the heart center. We can live in alignment with the truth, the energy of the day, the moon and the sun, and the rest of the universe. And we can just ride the wave instead of struggling against it. The more we can release the fear and the limited mindsets that keeps us trapped in the polarities, the more we will experience the I am presence. Being in one with everyone, seeing ourselves in everyone, seeing others in us. There's no judgments. Life just unfolds, and we are riding the wave with the intention of being here, staying in the heart, not losing ourselves in the mind and the confusion that often the mind can go into when there is choices to make or feelings that doesn't really feel in alignment with that truth of who we are. I share with you that I've been contemplating this yes and no answer lately. And no was very in the polarity of the feminine, and if I said yes, it would be in the polarity of the masculine. Saying no brought up feelings of guilt in me. Saying yes brought up feelings of being used or not having enough to give. And when I released both of them, I immediately came into my heart space, into trust, into this inner knowing of what choice to make, which would serve the best, not only for me, not only for that other person, but for both of us and for the future to come. To tap into the essence of who we are and knowing what to do with it, knowing what your mission is, what your next move should be. For me at least, it requires me to go into meditation or stillness. And sometimes I meditate on the question, who am I? I ask God, dear God, who am I? And I listen. And maybe you want to do that with me now. Sit down. Release the thoughts. Sense into your breath. And allow your awareness to rest in the heart space. It's like a mini version of you sits down, leaning back into this nice chair in the center of your chest. Bring yourself there. Bring your awareness and consciousness to your heart space, the center of your chest. And bring the question into the universe. Who am I? And ask the question in your own language. In Norwegian is Hvem er jeg? Who am I? Dear God, I wonder who I am. Can you please, dear God, show me who I am? And then listen deeply. Just notice if something appears in front of your eyes, or maybe an emotion or a sensation or a light appears, or maybe nothing. And maybe that's also an answer. Becoming nobody, nothing, no thing, no personality. No specific thing. Maybe there's not even a mission. Maybe we are just nothing, or one with that Ein Sof aspect of God, this mystery. Maybe there are more than just one aspect of you. But what if you try to say, I am one with the love of God. I am one with love. I am no one, but I am one with love. I am no body, nobody, no body. but I am one with light. I am joy. I am the essence of peace and harmony. I am one with the sun, the moon, and the earth. I am one with a neighbor, with my father, my mother, my sister, and my brother, and my children. I am one with all. And yet here I am in this individual body, this physical body that wants to move. So dear God, from the I am presence of love, joy, harmony, peace, how can I best bring this into the world? How can I share this? Which gifts can this be shared through? Please show me. Please guide me. Send your angels towards me, to embrace me, to guide me, to enlighten me, please. And listen. Listen for inspiration. Be aware of where your heart lights up, where you feel joy. What you do that brings you this feeling of sparkle and fun and joy and inspiration. This childlike joy of moving, dancing, creating. Where do you feel that spark? What lights you up from the inside? Maybe there are some people in your life or some certain energy some people have that makes you feel this spark. This excitement. This joy coming from within, and like a bubbling feeling, like you're in love and you just want to run and celebrate. Or maybe the Spirit shows you also where there is harmony. Maybe there are certain things you do or create, or you feel this intuition to go towards where there is this sense of peace. Like, I'm home here. It doesn't mean that you will not meet any obstacles when you move towards it, because maybe you hold some limited beliefs or some hidden fears when you are moving towards it that comes up for you. But that first spark, that first idea which brights you up from the inside, go back there and bring that with you into the future, into movement, into Netzach. And just by moving towards it, brings you this feeling of victory. It's not always that we need necessarily to get all the way to that goal. But the first step we make, that we feel that we are on the path, we are moving in the right direction, this feeling of going for a walk and we know where we will end up, but it's the journey itself that brings us the joy, that brings us this feeling of excitement. I believe there is a reason that we begin with the chesed, the endless river of love coming from God. Then we are moving to the gevura, which is this ability to wait and to see and to feel into the direction where we want to guide love, where we want to create balance, not taking in all that love at once. Talking about this reminds me about my experience this morning, because I was looking, I live in a valley, and I was looking across the valley, and the sun was rising and it was shining its light into some windows in a house far away, and it reflected so much light back to me, and I couldn't help myself but looking at it. But I realized I was looking at it for too long, because when I was looking down on my paper again, when I was writing, I saw that I had some blind spots because I had taken in or looked at the light too long, so my eyes were reacting to that. So the gevura is kind of that. It makes sure that we receive, but just in the right amount. Because when God pours its river into us, if we were just opening up completely for that at once, we would be overwhelmed. It would be a Kundalini awakening going into the wrong direction. We all hear about people going crazy because of this. So it's important we let in just the right amount of light, and then we direct it into the heart. The Tiferet. And there we find the truth about who we are. That inner knowing, where to go, to receive and to give, And when we have received enough love, we send it into the right hip, into the Netzach. When we have realized who we are ready to give it forward. So when God pours that river of light into us, it has to be going through some certain filters in a way. And this takes time. So maybe a question to ask ourselves, how can we find the truth about who we are? First, find the Tiferet, find that center before we move. Yeah. Maybe you heard my daughter came in now. She's sick and home from school, so I will end the recording now, and I just rest my hands on my chest, my heart space, and sending you all so much love for this day, this beautiful day of Tiferet and Netzach. May it bring you clarity. May it give you the right direction. May it inspire you. May it bring you peace and harmony. This beautiful balance between resting and doing. May you see the truth within your own actions. May you be brave and courageous to look into your own creation. That's also the Tiferet within the Netzach. Because we have already made a lot of movement, we have already created a lot in our lives. Can we use the truth from within and to see with clear eyes what we have created, and then take the responsibility for that? If something is not working, acknowledge it. Bring humbleness and compassion towards yourself. Feel it. And then maybe at one point you're ready to change the way you act. Who knows? Okay. Thank you for listening. Namaste.